Yeah. What it do? What it do? This is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. That's right. I'm the host with the mostest. This is Joel Sylvain, the host of Power Moves, and my partner in crime, Mr. Kevin Carr. He's a he's a he's out somewhere with the kids. You know, the brother got he got like a tribe, so it's hard to keep track of business, family, the balance. So I gotta hold it down for my brother, Mr. Career crossover. And I am so happy for our guest. But before we get started, let's talk about the news in sports and entertainment right now. Right now, Tampa Bay is happy because Tom Brady is back. He's back to quarterback Tampa Bay. Of course, people are already talking about we might get a Super Bowl. It would be nice. It would really be nice if we get a Super Bowl. But, I can't blame Tom Brady, man. I mean, the man looks like he's still like 30-something years old, just zinging touchdowns and first downs and, just getting, he got eliminated in the playoffs, the championship. So I think he has an opportunity to truly make a difference within Tampa Bay, and we'll see what happens. What happens next year. Whenever Tom Brady is back, you can't count him out. And it seems like every other year he gets a championship. Like he won't make it to the playoffs, and all of a sudden, I just won another Super Bowl. So we'll see, Tampa Bay. But I know this much, that's now going to bring more real estate prices and opportunities in Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is the #1 destination in Florida for folks to come to. So we'll see. Thank you, Mr. Tom Brady, and the Super Bowl 2 years ago, right? In other news, who was a hot mess in my city, New York? My man Kevin Durant. I'm not mad at him, but he definitely put Mr. Eric Adams, Mr. Swagoo Mayor, on notice. Like, listen, bro, this whole mandate thing, let's make some changes because it doesn't make sense. Some people agree, watching Stephen A. Smith, he's like, yeah, you don't call out people. You don't call out the mayor. You wait until you're behind the scenes. I get it. At the same time, who knows that he may have talked to him behind the scenes. At the end of the day, he's speaking out of frustration. And you know what? When you're in the public and you are the government official, you got to understand you're going to catch some bullets here and there. And you can make a decision, but at the end of the day, if the majority of people saying it doesn't make sense, from the NBA commissioners to so many different people, I don't see why we are here in that regard. So, but the Brooklyn Nets is coming back together again. They beat the Sixers. They didn't beat them; they blew them out. Golden State Warriors is turning around. The Phoenix Suns, even without Chris Paul, are killing the game. Baseball is back. So in the world of sports, things are looking really, really good. In the world of music, inside scoop, Eric Sermon and Dr. Dre are doing a song together. It's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. My boy, Coach Bernard Alexander, had put that together because Eric Sermon's working on this album of duos, from Salt and Pepper to Mobb Deep. Anyone that was a duo hip hop group, he's producing some tracks, and that's going to be pretty exciting when that project comes out. Also, let's see who else. I want you to check out my friend Lynn Scott. We're going to get her on the show as well. She's the senior vice president over at Hitco, which is L.A. Reid's independent label, and they have this artist named Ayana Lee. She has a single out called Gangsta Love, but she has an EP, is magnifique. I'm telling you, she's the next one. So go check it out. Ayana Lee, Gangsta Love. And on that note, I'm just going to wrap up our sports and entertainment segment with just that. And I want to introduce to you our special guest. Now, our special guest got it going on. She's been featured in Black Enterprise, Rolling Stone, Complex Magazine, Skunk, Marijuana Business, Forbes, Pop Sugar, High Times, Mary Jane. She's a traditional naturopath, registered clinical herbalist through the American Herbalist Guild. Her core competencies include utilizing herbs as the basis of nutrition to combat the symptoms of chronic, degenerative, and terminal illnesses. In addition, she actively works to ensure that people have the right to choose medical options, traditional, alternative, or otherwise, that support their health and healing journey. And being that this is Women's History Month, we all love our mothers, and our mothers provide all the healing, the love, and the nurturing that we deserve. And that's why I wanted to bring this esteemed guest to our show. But even more so, just give you her specialty. Her core focus is on the indigenous cannabinoid system, introducing the biochemical and physiological effects of phytocannabinoids. She advocates for plant medicine through education and support services, and uses her influence to educate people on the phytocannabinoid nutrition and dietary supplementation. She has a sincere passion for empowering patients to understand their bodies and discover the gentle power of the healing arts. She's the bridge between Western and the alternatives while providing a safe and nurturing atmosphere for healing. Like I said, just like a mother. She's a clinical herbalist. She practices relationship-centered healthcare and has a passion for assisting others through herbal education. Her working knowledge of the therapeutic action in various botanical material medica, and has over 400, you hear me? 400 proprietary botanical blends, of which 48 contain a phytocannabinoid profile. Her focus on working with people to alleviate symptoms that are causing health concerns and correcting underlying imbalances mentally, physically, and spiritually. She routinely practices gathering and growing herbs, personally compounding medicines in small batches to maintain consistency and formulation. She is the president and founder of TGR Holdings and Genesis Cooperative Incorporated. She also is the president of her 501c3 nonprofit organization focusing on organisms, their life processes, and how they relate to one another and the environment. She also provides financial and in-kind assistance to cancer survivors. The Kiona Foundation, which is the name of her 501c3, provides traditional medicine at a low or no cost as a service to cancer survivors, both domestically in the United States, internationally in both Jamaica and Australia. And with her Genesis Cooperative, her for-profit company, she and her professionals share their similar economic, social, and cultural needs and aspirations through jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprises. So let's welcome to the show, Dr. Lakeisha in the house.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate that warm welcome, and definitely put the emphasis on the mother. That's the part that I do well because I'm a mom of 8. So I really appreciate that accolade as well.
That's right. That's right. You know, I mean, as we say when we're growing up in Brooklyn, that's why you see Ebbets Field in the background with my man Jackie Robinson, hanging out with what's called the 5%ers. We gotta definitely honor our earths, right? And so, you know, kudos to you, mother of 8. God bless you. Right? That is awesome. So welcome to the show, and how are you doing, and how did you fare during this whole pandemic? I mean, we're still going through this pandemic, but you know, how have you been doing?
Well, actually, and the funny thing is, because I do, I do business globally, so I spend a lot of time on Zoom, consulting patients and clients and those types of things. So really, you know, transitioning to the like work from home type of life where everybody else was, kind of having a difficult time making the transition, I realized that the shelter in place was not a lot different from my my regular life.
Mm-hmm.
So I did okay, and I was fortunate to be able to weather the storm of the pandemic in Jamaica. Jamaica did a very, very good job of containment. They still do a very good job of practicing sanitization measures and things like that. So I was very, very blessed to not have the pandemic have a huge impact in a negative manner on my regular life.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And the fact that you're in Jamaica now, is that where your family's from? Is that your heritage, or you just decided, you know what, I'm out. I'm going back to Jamaica.
Something like that. I have no Jamaican heritage. No, I have no family here. I was actually invited here in 2017 to be a speaker at a conference. I got an all expense paid trip to come here. And I realized the business opportunity, being an owner operator in California in the medical cannabis industry, and we had just legalized. I realized what a difficult road it would be to trod that new landscape. And so I decided to come to Jamaica, where there are a number of indigenous herbs, including medical cannabis, that I can continue my studies on compounding and making wonderful blends to help people. So it's been a wonderful journey. Actually, yesterday made my 4-year anniversary of moving to Jamaica.
Congratulations, 4 years. That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what made you decide to embark on this journey.
Well, in 2002, my oldest daughter was diagnosed with 2 different types of brain tumor when she was 8 years old. And in searching for ways to be able to help her, I learned about alternative therapies. Not that it wasn't always a part of my life. My grandfather, he's always made, herbal preparations and things like that. He can go in the forest and pick shrubs and berries, to help everybody in the neighborhood and our family. And so, but that was really my catalyst for change, wanting to be able to help her and offer options and solutions. Unfortunately, the state of California let me know that as a minor, I don't get to choose what therapies go for her. I'm forced into using whatever, form of protocol that the medical establishment says, or else I'm considered a threat and my parental rights are in jeopardy. And so it sort of gave me that fire to want to help everyone just be able to at least have the option of choosing whatever medical options they believe are going to help them. There's a lot to be said about mind over matter. Sometimes just your sheer will to live and your desire to help yourself does just as well as any prescription medication that you can get. So I love to help and empower people to be able to go on that journey themselves.
I'm loving hearing that, and we're going to jump into our money segment coming up soon. But within the next 60 seconds, because we got to pay some bills in a minute, can you share with us your educational journey? Because you are a doctor, right?
Yes, I studied for my doctorate in naturopathy while my daughter was going through chemotherapy, actually. Unfortunately, the doctors don't necessarily want to listen to you. So I needed to get a degree that, matched theirs so they could know what I was talking about. So my educational journey actually started there on my road to embracing natural therapies, nutritional therapies, and traditional medicine.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And now, are you born and raised in California? Are you a West Coast? Oops, wrong one. What's West Coast?
No, I'm from Mississippi, actually. So I was born in Mississippi, but I did move to the West Coast when I was really young. So, like I said, my grandfather, he really is an indigenous healer, and he can go out into the woods in Mississippi and pick all kinds of shrubs and berries and show you what to do with them. So it's really ingrained as a part of my history coming from the South.
All right. So you from Mississippi, be the West Coast. All right.
Yes.
So we going On that note, we're going to come back and find out if she's related to Snoop and Brandy, because they all from Mississippi too. But once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. See you after the break. Go ahead, Bezel, do your thing with the commercials, baby. All right, we are back. We are back. We are back. We are back with Dr. Lakeisha, the boss, right here. She's the naturopath that, and an entrepreneur. So I can't wait to really dig into what she's doing so she can share with you how she's making that money and she's controlling her ecosystem and her purpose. So with that being said, not too many, and I know you're aware of this, but when we think about, your story originally being from Mississippi, your dad, so you do have indigenous in your family.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. The Mississippi Band of Choctaw, actually. Yes.
Okay. That's what's up. What's awesome is just a couple of weeks ago, we had a chiefess on the show that we talked about how she said that we need to stop saying that we're Black or African Americans. We need to say we're indigenous.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I actually, my father has traced our genealogy. I've been able to do, those DNA tests that, are sometimes a little questionable or whatever, but it's actually shown that, we are indigenous to America. So, Africans were all over the world and they inhabited everywhere before America was discovered. These air quotes with
yes.
So
there's a book.
Start claiming our indigenous heritage. Absolutely.
That's right. That was what's his name? The author of that book, I believe, is Workamer. I'll find it. But that is a book called that before America was discovered by Columbus. So, with that being said, so you can appreciate the importance of owning land, running your own manufacturing, things of that nature. Let's start from the very beginning, right? You are a professional, you're a doctor, you decide to come to Jamaica, and now you are building your empire. The first question I want to ask you is, number one, there's not many women in this industry, especially Black women or indigenous women. And two, how profitable is it now?
So, before transitioning internationally, I was an owner operator in California for over a decade. I was actually a founding board member of the California Cannabis Industry Association. So I helped work on the laws and regulations for cannabis in the state of California. Back then, it was a little bit more lucrative. Unfortunately, sometimes when you change the regulatory landscape, let's put it like that, you can be legislatively barred from participation because the barriers of entry are high, monetarily high. With licensing and different regulations, it can be very difficult. But the cannabis industry itself, especially if your heart is in the right place and you're doing it for the right reasons, you'll find that it can be very sustainable and lucrative. I like to say alignment is the new hustle. So if you're like aligned with yourself and your partners and you know your why and why you're doing it, I like to practice conscious business, people and purpose, and the profits will definitely follow.
All right, people and purpose. Okay, so give us an example of how's that work for you? Because the whole thing about this show is almost like a master class, right? So you just hit us with the surface level, alignment, and it sounds all fairy tale-ish. Let's break it down to making it happen and making this money.
So let me tell you, one thing that I want to say in working in the industry, and what I really want to stress to everyone, is any skills that you have currently, those are needed in the cannabis industry. It is a booming $1 trillion industry that is growing by leaps and bounds, not just domestically, but also internationally. And any skills that you have, whether it's accounting, whether it's human resources, whether it's construction, there are so many things that go into the cannabis industry, not just touching and feeling the plant, not just being a grower, a cultivator or dispensary owner. There are a number of ways that you can get your foot in the door. So I really encourage people to take whatever skills they have now and figure out a way to translate them over. One thing for me that I'm very blessed and thankful for is I really don't feel like I work. I'm passionate about natural health, traditional medicine, and helping people. And I've been able to take that passion and transition it into a career. So I say that, and I don't really feel like I work. I'm very busy, very busy. My schedule is compacted, but I'm busy working for me. And that is a blessing, within itself.
Okay. And with that, how long have you been an entrepreneur to do this for yourself? And what was the shift for you? Like, what was the turning point? Did you ever work for the man and then decide to do this? So tell us, how did you make that transition?
So I haven't worked for somebody since the late 90s, actually.
Wow.
But yes. My transition happened when I was working for corporate Sprint. I was 8 months pregnant. I was in large scale telecommunications, making Sprint a lot of money. And I realized when they flew me down to La Jolla for one day to shoot a training video on how I make them so much money, so I could teach all of the other sales representatives how to make them that much money, I said, you know what? I think I could do this for myself. So that was really my transition to entrepreneurship, is getting out of corporate America and saying the money that I make for somebody else, I can make, for myself. The road is difficult to entrepreneurship. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline and it's a lot of work. But again, if you choose something that you're passionate about, people, your passion, your purpose, the profits absolutely follow. You just have to follow your heart.
I love that. I love the fact that you are focused on profits, because a lot of people, when they go into business for themselves, they just want to be in business for themselves, and they don't understand that you're not in business if you're not profitable, right? So how did you discover how much profit that you need to make, but still make it a win-win situation?
I think that, it goes along with financial literacy, really. like understanding budgets and understanding what you really need to survive in life. And I think when people really look at those things, they notice that it takes a lot less to survive or to, be comfortable than what we've been conditioned actually to believe. So when you practiced those things and learn those things within yourself and really, take a hard look at your personal accounting and how that works, it's easy to then, once you're in business, pay yourself first. That is the most important goal. Pay yourself first. Make sure that you're taken care of, and then you're able to budget a lot better and reinvest in your business. That's also a very important component. But I think for me, it's the financial literacy component. Paying myself first, investing in myself because I'm a sure bet, and then reinvesting in my business that really helps me to stay profitable.
So what's next for you? Where do you see more of a bump in income or revenue for you? You've been in this industry for quite some time. What's the inside scoop you can share with our audience to say, you know what, this is the direction that I see where everybody is here, you're moving in this direction?
I think what I see is most of the people in the cannabis industry, just to be honest, miss the mark on who the real target market is. I educate people on the endogenous cannabinoid system and the fact that nutritional supplementation is actually necessary to maintain human life. The endogenous cannabinoid system is our master regulator and induces homeostasis or balance in the system. A lot of people in the cannabis industry focus on the adult use market. So they go directly towards maybe combustibles, people that are consuming it, I hate to use the word recreationally, but adult use. There is an entire market of people who utilize phytocannabinoid supplements nutritionally for general health and wellness. And that is the real target market. That is the underlying cash cow, if you will, of the cannabis industry itself. And a lot of people miss that mark and don't focus on that.
But what's interesting is I've noticed, a lot of multi-level marketing companies have been focused on that though, right? Yes. So, and they're making a killing, but there's so many of them. And even now retail wise, you find it in Sprouts, CVS, whatever case may be. How does one discern the difference? And once again, as a young entrepreneur, how do you position yourself to be in that revenue flow, in that profitability flow, in that alignment?
That's an awesome question. And it's research. Research it for yourself. Don't just believe, what anybody says or what you actually see out there in the media. One thing that I want to say is all supplements are not created equal. There are a lot of supplements that are made from isolated constituents like CBD. You see CBD everywhere, gas stations, airports, everywhere. My rule of thumb and one, tip that I'd like to give is it should have more than just one cannabinoid in any supplement that you're using. So if you're looking to get into the business, focus on full plant medicine. As many cannabinoids, as many terpenes as possible, anything that's natural and coming from the plant. The natural health industry itself is $1 trillion industry, and cannabis is only but a piece of it. There are many, many people that focus on health and wellness, and that is a very small part of the health and wellness industry overall. Don't be so linear in thought and only think cannabis. Think health. Health is wealth, and I mean that when I say it.
Yes. You are absolutely right about that. Health is wealth. There's so many numerous ailments out there, and just even after chemotherapy to have some CBD to kind of help calm their systems and things of that nature is, that of itself was important. I mean, in reading your bio and just sharing it with the audience, I really wanted to underscore the importance of what you said when you said when you discussed that we need to be more mindful of how naturopathic medicine can truly benefit the symptoms. Like you really target how by addressing the symptoms in a natural way, how that can really benefit you. But then again, we're going to think about that because we got to go on break. So once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. We'll see you after the break. All right, we are back here on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everyone is a star. This is Power Move. We are here with our special guest, Dr. Lakeisha, in the house. And we were just talking about the importance of understanding what you're getting when you consume any type of CBD, and to make sure that it has several different cannabinoids, not just one. And also not to only look at cannabinoids as the only panacea or the only cure for everything. There's other herbs. And this is, we're not going to go into our power segment. And in tapping into our power segment, what I love, and I'm going to kind of piggyback a little bit about, Chiefess that we had a couple weeks ago, and some of my other, people that I talked to, is the importance of how do you tap into your power, especially as Indigenous people, in order for us to overcome a lot of the challenges that we face on a daily basis. So I'm going to start off with, where do you get your power from? Part one is the question. And then part two is, as a woman in this industry, what's that like in exerting your power and your influence?
So where do I get my power? I get my power from within, really. I think that one thing that I've learned, in my growth as a person and spiritual journeys and things, is shut out the noise. I know that there's a lot, that we get pressure from. There's a lot of metrics that people put out there that define success and different things. I define success through my set of metrics. The way that I hone in on my power is really meditating, listening to myself, and trusting my instinct and trusting my gut. People may not understand, but it's not their place to understand, really, at the end of the day. For me, that is really how I'm able to sort of be in balance. What my whole job is as a naturopath is to help people be in balance, to be in homeostasis. That's how I gain my balance, my homeostasis, by shutting out the noise and going within. And to answer your second question about being a woman in this industry, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Being a woman in any industry, honestly, is difficult. But this is very much a male-dominated industry. And when you work at the highest levels of the industry, as I do, it can be very difficult to assert that dominance and have your voice heard. One thing that I found is that through educating myself and knowing my why, and again, walking in my purpose, it makes me valuable. The information that I know, not a lot of people in the industry know. And so I really focus on adding value to everywhere that I go. And I think that's how I'm able to define and be able to maintain that level of power in this very cutthroat and male-dominated industry. It's difficult. It is very difficult.
You know, I find that purpose helps you define your power, right? So with that being said, in listening to you especially, can you share with us how has purpose, and what is your purpose? I kind of know what it is, but I want you to really extrapolate that, because once again, this is kind of like a masterclass. You know, what is your purpose and how has that fueled your power and your influence in this industry?
My purpose is to educate and empower. That is really, I think, any key to being an effective leader is how many people you can bring up behind you. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to educate and empower everyone to be just as smart as me. I need everybody on my team to know what I know and work as hard as I do. I think that is definitely my purpose, education and empowerment. And I really find that by investing in human capital, investing in people, putting my talents out there to help the next person is really, really for me, it's actually what makes me feel good. I really feel best when I'm in the service of others, to be honest. And I think that if more people operated from that sort of, school of thought, that we'd find we're much happier, as opposed to being competitive. Let's be cooperative and let's help one another. I think we'd be a lot happier.
Let me backtrack a little bit even further. So that was a great answer, right? But I want to go deeper. Like, what was because you didn't mention it, but I want you to even share that much more, because it's all about the alignment. What drove you to this purpose? Granted, yes, it's all about bringing value. It's about being a leader and empowering others and duplicating yourself. But what was that stimulus, that catalyst that really drove you to say, you know what, this is my purpose and power? And I'll give you a real brief story. So right now I have my partner's t-shirt. And this is not my partner on the radio show. This is my partner when I had my own record label. And he has his own BMX company. And he's currently going through a terminal illness. He goes to dialysis every other day, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And the t-shirt says, "Crush the impossible."
I love it.
Right? He's been in dialysis for, Lord have mercy, he told me 9 years.
Wow.
Right? Still waiting for a kidney. When he was in his low points, I said, listen, brother, you need to focus on your purpose. Like, why are you here? What do you need to do? And now he has a shoe company, a power company, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what drives him. That's the true purpose. And then, of course, he wants to build a company. He wants to bring all the folks around, the kumbaya moment. You gave me the kumbaya answer. I want the nitty gritty. What's your purpose, Lakeisha, and how does that fuel you and your power?
It's definitely, my daughter being diagnosed with cancer. When you go through a terminal illness, especially, that's my firstborn child, and she was going through her cancer diagnoses, And the way the allopathic medical or the conventional medical system is set up, they take symptoms, the way they present, you get a disease diagnosis. After the disease diagnosis, they give you a treatment protocol, which is pharmaceutical. That's just how it works. There's nothing outside of that. There's no room for individuality. There's nothing. When I questioned whether chemotherapy and radiation was the appropriate course of action for her, my parental rights were challenged. Actually, I didn't have a choice. My daughter's brain tumor was removed with her second brain surgery. So technically, she beat brain cancer. Her body could not recover from the effects of chemotherapy and radiation, though. So my daughter passed away 12 days shy of her 12th birthday from the treatment, not from the cancer itself. And what people don't realize is a lot of times you survive in spite of, not because of. And so for me, that was the catalyst. And I need people to understand. And the funny thing is if I didn't embrace that at the time and walk within my purpose and really figure that out, I wouldn't have been able to last year. So in October of 2002, my firstborn child was diagnosed with a brain tumor. In October of 2020, my newest child, who'll be 2 in May, she was diagnosed with retinoblastoma or eye cancer. I was able to take all of the information that I know, everything that I've practiced and learned over these last couple of decades, and really be able to help my daughter to overcome using nothing but natural therapies and treatments. We're working with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York, and they can't even believe that natural therapies have been able to do what they've been able to do for her. But that is walking in your purpose. When you actually embrace it, you don't turn away from it. You just lean in. You never know where it might lead you. There's going to be hills and valleys. It's going to be a hard road to trod. But again, trust in yourself. Shut out the noise and listen to you and walk in that purpose. That's definitely been it for me. And I'm thankful for it.
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. So how has spirituality fueled your power? Because you talk about meditation, and you like I said, you giving me the PC answers. I'm going to dig. I'm going to dig. So obviously you are in tune, right, with the highest vibrations. You're getting the natural. You're in tune with nature. They're communicating with you. You're communicating with them. How has that helped you fuel your power? And would you say that all indigenous people have that opportunity to do the same thing? And if they do, how can you help them tap into that?
I think that the way that happens is to go back to nature, go back to the basics. We've forgotten, we've been educated and indoctrinated in a different way. We've forgotten our heritage. It was stolen from us. We don't know it. A lot of us, unfortunately. But going back, and that's why I say it's intuitive. We have an inherent ability. The body's a self-healing organism. It's designed that way. If you give it what's necessary, and I'm talking about holistically, mind, body, and spirit, it can and will heal itself in a lot of ways. And I think that we need to stop asking for permission. You don't need permission to live. You need to trust you and look within you. And for me, spirituality, again, is definitely the cornerstone. I've read a lot of books. I've done a lot of shadow work, going within myself, which is very, very difficult. But the ways that I love to educate and empower people to be able to do the same thing is to take a holistic approach. your spirit and your mind have a lot to do. I love the story that you just told about your friend. 9 years on dialysis. You know what's helping him just as much as the dialysis? Just like I said in the beginning, his sheer will to live.
Yes.
It's him.
That's right. That's right.
And he's the reason that he's here. Yes, we can give credit to the medicine. Yes, we can give credit to the doctors, but I give credit to him.
That's right.
Kudos to him to be able to stay here, because it really takes that attitude, and I've seen it a million times, is half the battle. You have to.
Well, you know what? On that note, with that battle, we gotta battle these commercials. And once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. See you after the break in about a minute and a half. All right, we back on In Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everyone is a star. We got Dr. Lakeisha talking about power moves, a woman in the cannabinoid industry, or cannabis industry actually, but how it's very diverse and how you can really take advantage, make this money, but really more importantly, being in alignment with nature. And that's how you could truly make a power move and make some major profits. So now we're going to jump into this respect segment, because you were definitely tapping into the power. When it comes down to it, Dr. Lakeisha, you had to fight a lot of people to be able to provide protocols where you can bring natural medicine or a naturopathic way of doing things into the Western medicine as an opportunity. I love the fact that you, although I know it has to be challenging that your baby girl at 2 years old is going through what she's going through, but yet you're proving to Sloan Memorial, which I'm very familiar with because I'm from New York, like, listen, bro, I got this. So can you share with us a time, in addition to the one that you went through with your first daughter, of where you were faced with pushback, where you were providing alternative medicine protocols, and you were right and they were wrong, but you had to fight through that? Because a lot of times, whether you're in corporate, you may feel like you're right, but you're feeling disrespected, but you have to approach it in a certain type of manner, right, to get results. So could you share with us a scenario in that regards?
Yeah, one of those is definitely fighting, for the cannabis industry in California. We legalized in 1996 medically, but we didn't regulate until 2016. There was 20 years of people getting raided and arrested and all kinds of things going on. We have laws out there that say we can do it, but no rules to say exactly how to do it. So it was open to interpretation. So being a Black woman in the Central Valley of California, Central Valley is 18 counties that run throughout the middle. It's the Bible Belt of California. It's very conservative, to say the least. So
she said the Bible Belt of California. Wow.
A Black woman fighting for alternative medicine and cannabis specifically, and being able to help people. You want to talk about pushback? Boy, that was the fight of my life. That was actually the fight of my life, and it was very difficult. But there are so many people, and especially after I saw what my daughter went through, so many people that needed the help. I couldn't turn a blind eye. I really felt like I had a moral obligation at that point to make any therapy that people felt that they needed available for them. It's all about choices. We shouldn't feel like we're pushed in a box and we're not able to make our own choices. Again, I hate the fact that we feel like we need permission to live. There's a lot I could say about that, but I won't get on my soapbox about it. But that's definitely one of those points. And that definitely goes with respect. You might not like what I have to say, but I'm educated and I know what I'm talking about. So you have to respect me. That's just the bottom line. I'm speaking facts that you can't dispute. So, don't hate the player, hate the game. Just saying.
Woo-wee. So it sounds like to me you're also saying that before you puff up your chest and start saying something, educate yourself somehow, whether it's certifications, whether it's
whatever it is,
degrees, whatever the case may be, you have to have the expert type knowledge before you can, really command the respect that you deserve. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
I think even beyond that, never operate from a place of emotion. Operate from facts. When you put your emotions in it, it's really hard because then those lines are kind of blurred. You're not always commanding or giving respect, but I can respectfully lay down the facts and you have to respectfully accept it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So with that being said, how are you helping patients become their own advocates? Because you can't be everywhere at all times, right? So in order for them to have respect for themselves, how do you walk people through that protocol? Because like I said, you're not just doing cannabinoids, you're a herbalist, you're a naturalist. So, and you're an advocate for people to do that, right? And you're doing it in Jamaica. So how are you able to help folks so that they can have the power and the respect to be able to command that, so they can have the facts?
It's education. It's really all about, like you said before, educating yourself. So I pride myself in educating people. I take the facts that I know and I make them available on a broad scale to the general public. I make sure that my narrative, my message is consistent and easy to understand. And so I always, no matter who I'm talking to, even when I'm talking to lawmakers are terrified of legal cannabis, very, very scared, but they understand the medicinal or therapeutic aspects. All you have to do is educate them, because there's one thing that people will pay their last dollar for, and that's their health. To have another day on this earth, they'll pay for that. And so through education, whether it's patients, lawmakers, the general public, I make my message consistent, on point, based on facts, and I disseminate that from the mountaintops. Anybody who'll listen, I make sure that I'm spreading that knowledge and information, because I really feel like at this point, the misinformation about, nutrition and health, it's a human rights issue. It's like almost a civil rights issue of modern time. People are dying and they don't have to. And education is the key. They need to know. They need to know themselves, how their bodies work, and what they can do to help themselves, that empowerment component.
Speaking of which, do you feel that whether it's CBD or what naturopathic protocol do you feel can support folks that are going through COVID?
There's a lot. First of all, a lot of the reason that people succumb to that particular disease is comorbidities. So when you have a lot of other things going on, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, you have other underlying conditions, that really makes you more susceptible, not to just COVID, but to everything. Really, what I encourage people is to pay attention all the time. We live in an instant gratification society. We want everything easy. We want everything handed to us. You are what you eat is really a saying for a reason. There's no area in life that you can do whatever you want without consequence. Your health is not an exception. You really have to pay attention. Absolutely and positively. So help yourself by educating yourself and knowing that if, like I said, the body's a self-healing system. If you give it vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes that are required to sustain life, it can and will repair itself. But you need to give it that nutrition. So learn about that and implore those, those type of disciplines in your life.
So how do our audience get access to the information that you provide, the education, that they can stay on top of this, and at the same time, I have a follow-up question after that, which is, how do we get insurance companies to help pay for naturopathic protocols?
So, first of all, you can follow me on social media. I disseminate information for free. I put out a lot of information. I'm on Clubhouse. If anyone's on Clubhouse, I talk on there a lot of times. We have even an actual weekly show where we talk about health and nutrition and ways that you can, put these things into place. I try to give out as much free information as possible through social media channels. I write for Skunk Magazine and a couple of other publications, so you can read those. I try to make those available. As far as the insurance companies, I have a national provider registry number. So if you can actually register as a natural physician, with the natural provider registry, you may not get insurance to cover it up front, but insurance will definitely reimburse you for your services. Look at your actual insurance plan. You'll find that most insurance plans these days have some sort of provision for alternative therapies and care, but most people don't take advantage of it. They don't even know how. So just look into your insurance coverage and you'll probably find that there's actually some reimbursements that are available through there. But definitely, and then there's the Naturopathic Physicians Association. You can go on there and find a provider through there, and most of those providers take insurance.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for blessing us with your presence in the lovely country of Jamaica, where they keep telling you, come get this Bob Marley. And you're like, nah, you just need a little CBD in your life, baby, and you'll be all right. So on that note, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, your story, your purpose. And once again, this is Dr. Lakeisha. What's a good way for folks to follow you, get in contact with you? I know you said social media platforms, but we don't know what your social media handles are, and things of that nature. So this is your time to do your commercial.
All right. So if you see my name up above, it should come up on your screen, Dr. Lakeisha, on all social media. I'm @ Dr. Lakeisha, all spelled out, everywhere. Dr. Lakeisha is actually a trademark. So if somebody else is using it, no, I'm just kidding. But honestly, if you look me up on social media and look up Dr. Lakeisha, you'll definitely find me. And you can also go on my website, drlakeisha.com.
Excellent, excellent. Well, on that note, this is another great show of Power Moves. Thank you, Dr. Lakeisha, for your wisdom and your story and your power moves. And once again, this is Power Moves, where celebrities, athletes, key influential executives share how they make money, how they attract power, and how they earn respect. See you next week, baby.